Hey there, Kayak Cliff. Hey, on this episode, we're in Chassahowitzka Springs, or the Chassahowitzka River. And that's a river that's in between, it's north of Weeki Wachee and it's south of Homosassa Springs and it's south of Crystal River. And it's a real secluded, about a 5-mile long river that has lots of different springs on it, but it's not a commercial river at all, like Crystal River and Homosassa Springs. There's maybe some stilt houses as you get way out there, but it's just very, very remote. And I'm really excited to take you on a tour here. And I'm going to be paddling, kayaking, and I'm also going to be stand-up paddleboarding, and I'm also going to be motoring a little bit. I'm in the new Sea Eagle PaddleSki. And what is a PaddleSki? It's a 14, a little bit bigger than a 14-foot inflatable boat that takes up to a 6-horsepower motor, but it's only 4 feet wide. So with a long kayak paddle, you can actually paddle it pretty efficiently. Not like a touring kayak or anything like that, but really not any different than a big, massive fishing kayak. You can stand up in it and get a good vantage point of, hopefully I'll see lots of manatees and things like that. But yeah, I'm using this boat to get out a little further, cover some more areas to show you great paddling areas in Florida and beyond, in Texas where I live as well, or North Carolina. Anywhere that I am, I can have either a paddleboard, a kayak, or a motorboat. And of course I have personal kayaks and personal paddleboards as well. So hey, we're off to Chassahowitzka Springs. It's pronounced Chassahowitzka or Chassahowitzka, or locals call it the Chass. So off to the Chass. Okay, so I put in at the Chassahowitzka campground, and I'll put the address in the description box below, so you can get here easily. Real easy to find. It's just 1.5 miles off of Highway 19. But I put in here, and immediately upon launching, we're going to go check off to the right. We're going to check out the Seven Sisters Spring, looking at the map. And there's lots of springs here, so I'll show you a map with all the springs in a little bit. But I'm kind of motoring and paddling up there, and we're going to check it out and then go out to some other areas. Okay, I see a characteristic manatee hump up here. So I'm going to kill the engine and get up and do a little stand-up paddleboarding so we can see them a little better. There's a pretty one there. I just heard one come up and get some oxygen, and I think this one's going to do that as well. Got 3 of them here. Looks like one's a juvenile. Another one coming up for air. Manatees are mammals, just like a dolphin or a whale, so they do need to surface for air. They don't eat fish or meat. They're vegetarians, so they eat grass all day, and just real peaceful animals. It's just amazing to be back in here and to be able to get up and stand up paddleboard and see them as I do. Usually when I'm sitting in my kayak, I can't get a real good vantage point to get up and see them. While standing up here, I noticed we have some water welling up here. It says the Seven Sister Springs is off to the right of the boat launch. It may be here, or this just may be a network of Seven Sisters of springs here. But gonna paddle over that and take a look at it, and then work my way up as the river narrows. I think there's some more springs up there. Okay, here's the Seven Sisters Spring. See all the holes? We're in the winter months now, so I don't want to jump in, but you can snorkel all through these holes. And there's fresh water, artesian water, filtering right up through these holes. Really cool. Nice and shallow here. On a hot summer day, just standing up here, swimming around and going through those holes, little tunnels, with a snorkel would be awesome. I'm absolutely loving the versatility of this paddle ski. I sit down in my comfortable chair, put down my stand-up paddle, and resume kayak paddling. It's so shallow here, you know. With a motor, you don't want to come up in these shallow areas and disturb things. But there's literally 7 holes here, and it's absolutely gorgeous. 7 holes that are interconnected that you can swim in and out of. Right here, I'm over a big one. Okay, so here's a map of the area, and the Chassahowitzka River campground is where we put in right there. And then we just hung a right and we went up to the main spring, the main Chassahowitzka spring, and then the Seven Sisters springs. So now we're gonna work our way down the river and check out some of the other springs here. And this is a 5-mile river from the campground out to the Gulf of Mexico. And then you have all types of islands that you can explore out here as well. That's another trip. I'm not going to get all that today. But with this paddle ski, I can easily put in here and just explore as far as I want on a 3-gallon tank of gas, and it'll keep me going all day. Coming down the Chassahowitzka River after leaving the Seven Sisters and the put-in location at the campground, there's supposed to be off to the left something called the Snapper Hole. And it's a little kind of offshoot, and they say a lot of manatees are get piled up in there, so we'll cut the engine and paddle on in there and take a look. Okay, looks like we're approaching the Snapper Hole on the left-hand side here. So we're gonna kill the engine and go up in here and see it. I'm out here today on a weekday, November 30th, and lots of, pretty good groups of kayakers out here. Nothing crowded like you would find in the summertime. Beautiful time to be out here. Temperatures 70 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. No humidity in Florida at this time of year either. It's a great time to be here. But this is Snapper Hole Creek, and I assume there's probably a spring in here, but we'll check it out and see if we can see any more manatees.
Don't wait for me, honey. Don't wait. 'Cause I'm always here. Your way. And I know exactly what I'm looking for.
There's nothing like being able to stand up and paddleboard. I mean, it just gives you a much better vantage point for what's going on in here. I don't see any manatees. They say some of the smaller creeks like this and Baird Creek, which we're going to go up next, you need to be conscientious of the tides when you get here. So call ahead or get a tide chart and see what the tides are here, because you want to hit these on high tide, because they can get a little bit low from what I'm told to get back into. But no, we're gonna go back out and move on to the next creek, which I think is, okay, we just left the we're in the Snapper Hole now, and we're gonna go to Baird Creek, which has Blue Spring and the Crack. And the Crack, I think, is the one that's going to be hard to hit at low tide. We're at high tide right now, so we might be okay. But we'll go up there and see Blue Spring as well.
Wild and free, brown hair flowing in the wind, speeding down that 2-lane street. Most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. finally got your name. I couldn't hide my stupid smile. A Friday night after the game, the blue eyes stole my heart away. They said we were too young to know that we need to see the world. The world's not bigger.
Bear Creek is pretty narrow. It's really cool though, just lush greenery, a variety of trees, from palm trees to pine trees to cypress trees to tall grasses. This is really worth coming up. And I love being able to stand up when the time is right so I can paddleboard, although it's a little more difficult going against the current, keeping this paddle ski straight. So I'm sitting down paddling right now, but they said up here there is a bunch of manatees packed in by the Blue Spring hole up here. So shouldn't be much further. Super shady. It is just a tropical paradise here. And I love how this place is not commercial at all. And it's pristine. You know, whenever I paddle, if I see trash, I try to pick it up. And that way, you know, we leave the place cleaner for others. But I haven't even seen any trash yet. This is going to be fun paddling down. I'm going to stand up and paddleboard going down with the current. Figure I just sit down and paddle upstream, and with the engine all the way up, you have very little resistance in paddling, other than the fact that it's a 4-foot wide by 14-foot boat. So, but considering, it's not bad.
Every single part of me is beating. My chest, my bones, my mind. Now I'm dreaming with every breath I breathe.
Okay, here's the Blue Spring. So doesn't look like a lot of water coming out of it, but it's really deep. So it's probably got a mild flow to it, but certainly a good place to snorkel around in the summer months, or if you're so inclined in the winter months. And from the Blue Spring out here, we take this narrow route right here, and we're going to go to the crack. Assuming I can get up that far, but we'll give it a whirl. I feel like an old Spanish explorer from 300 years ago, exploring Florida and new waterways for the first time. It's just perfectly peaceful back here, and the only thing I hear is the breeze. Okay, I think we're close to what they call the crack, and it gets pretty narrow here. I'm going to try to go a little farther, but I don't think it's that much farther that way. Okay, this is what they call the crack. We're up at the end, and you even have a little rope swing here. So again, I left the boat because it gets a little narrow getting back up in here, but I got within 50 yards of it. There's the paddle ski up there. Again, it was just a short walk up to the crack, and depending if you're on a normal kayak, you can get it all the way up there. all these years I've been kayaking these springs and enjoyed the clarity and the view that I have from the kayak, but it's unbelievable to be able to stand up when you want to, put down the kayak paddle and grab the SUP paddle, because it gives you a whole other vantage point, and to have that option is just really slick. And I guess if you, well, I'm going to try it sometime. If you put 2 people in here, you can definitely paddle board with 2 people. Just remove the seat, and that way one person only has to paddle on one side, the other person paddles on the other side, and you don't have to switch. That would be fun going down here. Okay, so many of you are probably wondering where does the name Chassahowitzka come from, or Chassahowitzka, Chassahowitzka. It goes back to the Indian times, I think the Seminole Indians, but the Indians that inhabited this area, Chassahowitzka translated to pumpkin hanging vine, and there was a type of pumpkin here. It more resembled a turnip or a potato, and it hung from vines that climbed up trees. And it's pretty much extinct now. The lady at the camp said that you can still find them, and she had pictures of them, but they kind of look like a potato. They also call it like an air potato because it hangs in the air, not in the ground. So that's what Chassahowitzka means, and why it was named that. Okay, we just got out of Bear Creek where the crack in the Blue Spring was. We're out here. I think I'm going to go down the river a little bit more, just motor down here and explore. And then I want to get back to this Crab Creek Spring, and that's the last spring that we'll see today. It's about 3 o'clock now and probably got about 2 hours of light, so I want to watch that. But again, all of this out into the Gulf, and if you turn it over, it continues. It shows you what continues past here. So if I turn it over, I mean, you have all types of islands to explore if you're going to do multi-day trips, camping, or anything like that. It's absolutely crystal clear water out here in the main river. Hasn't turned brackish yet, and I'm probably halfway down the river. So, and brackish would be when the salt water starts to mix with it. So this is all fresh here, and it's nice and clear. Okay, I'm getting back from motoring out to about here, and again, as you recall, we started here, and we did Seven Sisters, Snapper Hole, Blue Spring, and the Crack. We're here where we're going to turn left and go up to Crab Creek Spring. And that's one of the last ones that I want to do. Well, that Crab Creek Spring is really cool. It's one big hole. There's another slightly smaller hole just about 20 feet away from it. But beautiful house on it. I mean, just sitting there right on the spring, right off their dock. Great swimming hole for whoever lives there. But this has been a great day here. There's two that I didn't get to, Powder Spring and Powder Creek Spring, and that was way up this creek, and I just don't have the time today. So on my next trip here, I'll definitely hit here and then head out to the Gulf and check out all the tidal marshes and all the islands out here. It just looks fabulous out there. Hey, thanks for coming with me today. I give this a big Kayak Cliff thumbs up. The whole Chassahowitzka River Basin, there's just so much to do here and see. I put in at 12 and it's 3:45 now. I'm gonna knock around some more and probably get some other clips. But if you like my videos, please like and subscribe to the channel. Unfortunately, in the days we live in today, the YouTube algorithms, they look favorably on videos that are liked and subscribed to. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll get a message whenever new videos come out. So I certainly appreciate you watching this video and coming with me. If you do come out here, awesome places to rent kayaks right at the campground. They rent all types of kayaks. Bring mosquito repellent. There are tons of mosquitoes out here, and this is November 30th. Typically in the winter, you don't think, or the fall, you don't think of mosquitoes. But yeah, I mean, you can take care of them with mosquito repellent and covering up. I saw one lady paddle past me and she had like this, it looked like a beekeeper. She had this hat with a netting that completely covered her face. But hey, and all of you do, get out and adventure as much as you can, no matter where you live. The fall, spring, and winter months, depending on where you live, can be awesome times to get out, and there's hardly anybody out in those times. So get out and adventure. Get out and see the outdoors. It just does great things for your soul. So anyway, safe adventuring out there. God bless. Kayak Cliff out.